Hello, hello, Sarah of SEK Handmade here, and you guys, I am so excited to introduce you to the perfect fall to winter shawl. I'm going to be wearing this all the time, and you better make one because you're going to want to wear it too. This is the Odessa Gray Shawl. Yes, she is actually gray, and we'll talk a little bit about that in the inspiration, but I want to encourage you to stick around to the end. I just finished taking a bunch of pictures with this shawl, and there are so many ways to wear her. You are definitely going to want to stick around for the style guide at the end. Also, at the end, I have a special discount code as a little thank you for watching all the way to the end, so you don't want to miss out on that either. All right, let's talk about the inspiration for the Odessa Gray Shawl. If you know me, you know one of the things I am not lacking in my wardrobe is color. I love bold color, fun prints, but I have been noticing more and more that when I would get dressed, I would wear a lot of bold prints and then not have a shawl that went with it exactly. And I love wearing shawls. So I thought, I know what I need. I need a gray shawl, something very neutral, something that goes with everything that I can throw on whenever my clothes have plenty of kapow, and it can just accentuate my fun style. I am part of the Blue Sky Maker program, which means that every year I get to play with one of their amazing yarns. They provide the yarn, I provide the pattern, we share all the good stuff, and I am so pleased to do this because I really genuinely love their yarn. So I went searching through their different yarn bases looking for some really good neutrals, which they have a lot of really nice neutrals. So then I was like, well, what do they have in a sport weight? Because that's something that I don't have a lot of shawls in, and I really wanted to expand the weights of yarns that I had available in shawl styles. That is when I came across their baby alpaca yarn, which we'll talk more about it later, but I was like, yes, please, give me some of that. Once I had it in my hot little hand, I had an idea of what I wanted to do for a shawl, but that all kind of went by the wayside when, just by happenstance, I pulled out my Daylight Dreams shawl to wear, and I was reminded what an awesome shape that shawl is. And so, inspired by my Daylight Dream shawl, I was like, I need another one in that shape. Odessa Gray, you are it, friend. So, just like my Daylight Dream shawl, my Odessa Gray shawl has 5 points to it, the ends, and then 3 in the center. This makes it really curl all the way around your body and makes it super easy and cozy to wear. Once I had that shape, I knew that I wanted the entire experience of making this shawl to be all about comfort. I wanted not only for you to curl up in the finished shawl all the time and feel super cozy and comfortable, but I also wanted the experience of making the shawl to be just as relaxing and cozy. So I picked a super simple but stunning stitch combination that you can just work and just relax after a long day, cozied up with your project. As you know, a lot of times I name my shawls female names. I've talked in the past about how I kind of like to do that because I've never gotten to name a female in my life. I have 2 boys. I've only had boy dogs. So I like to name my patterns female names that I really like. But this name, Odessa Gray, has a little bit of a deeper story than that. My mom passed away very suddenly about a year and a half ago. And one of the things that she was doing before she passed was she was working on cataloging and identifying old pictures that she had found and making a family tree and making some scrapbooks so that we could know who people were. So because her passing was quite sudden, my dad and I ended up packing all of that up together just to kind of keep it safe and pass it along to my cousin who was really interested in continuing the work. I had a really lovely time working on packing up this project with my dad because it gave us the opportunity to look at different old pictures and talk about the past and them growing up, and it was a really special time. I also really enjoyed flipping the pictures over or looking at my mom's notes and seeing the names of the different people I was related to. I flipped one picture over and on the back was written Odessa Gray, and I was like, yes, please, that name is fantastic. It will be a shawl. So while I don't remember exactly how I'm related to this lovely woman, she is connected to my past and my family, and I am so excited to have a shawl named after her. All right, let's talk about this stunning yarn. As I said, I worked with Blue Sky Fibers, some of their baby alpaca yarn. It is a sport weight yarn. It comes in 50-gram skeins, and each 50-gram skein has 110 yards on it. The fiber content on this yarn is so incredibly luxurious. It is 100% baby alpaca. A few things that you should know about baby alpaca is, as you can see, drape for days, you guys. This yarn is just, alpaca yarn in general just has so much drape. I know some people can be a little sensitive to alpaca, but I find this to just be so incredibly soft. I have not found any sensitivity having it around my neck or over my chest or on my arms. It's just really glorious. I made 2 shawls out of 3 different colorways. I started with the medium gray, which made me this really gorgeous, very neutral, solid colored shawl that I'm just going to be able to wear all the time. But I love a stripe, and so I thought it would be so fun to do the shawl in stripes too. The colors used in my striped shawl are simply light gray and black. I have been super impressed with this yarn. It has held up really well to frogging. As I say all the time, frogging is just a part of designing. Things take adjusting. So with my gray yarn, I frogged it back several times, but it held up really nicely and has held its shape really well too. Something you should know about working with baby alpaca yarn is that along with that gorgeous drape comes a lot of stretch. I don't think I measured beforehand, but before I blocked my shawls, they were significantly smaller. So especially if you're using baby alpaca yarn, be sure to block your swatch before you figure out if that gauge is going to be right. Also, if you choose not to use a baby alpaca yarn for this shawl, which of course would be totally okay, just know that a lot of that stretch comes from the specific fiber. And so if you find making gauge a little more challenging on this shawl, that might be why. And then just go ahead and look at the customizations and make some adjustments. You could totally make this shawl with your own gauge. All right, let's talk hooks. For the Odessa Gray Shawl, to get the gorgeous stitch definition and nice drape that I wanted, I went with a lovely, very comfortable, middle of the road hook size, a US H8, which is a 5mm hook. It's the only hook you use throughout the whole entire shawl because it would not be relaxing if you had to go switching back and forth. Okay, let's talk customization. One of the things that I absolutely love about this shawl is how customizable it is. It is a really simple 1-row stitch repeat, which means that unless you're doing color blocking or stripes like I did, you can really just keep going and going and going until your shawl reaches the size you want or you run out of yarn. I also give a whole bunch of instructions within the shawl on how to make adjustments on the size. So if you are a more petite person and you want it to be closer to your neck, or if you're a person who does not like things close to your neck, or let's say you happen to not be 5'2", like I am, and you just need it to be bigger because you're a bigger person, there are instructions on how to adjust the top of the shawl and how to make adjustments to the length. I'm not gonna lie, I think like me, you're gonna find that you wanna make more than one. All right, you guys, I am so excited for this. Let's talk about styling your Odessa Gray Shawl. I made my shawl in 2 sizes. I actually worked my gray yarn until I just ran out of yarn, which actually ended up being a smaller amount of yarn than my striped one, which I just made. I just wanted it to be big, giant, and cozy, which you can see. It turned out giant. Big or slightly smaller. You can wear this in so many ways. I'm going to show you with my smaller shawl though, because I think it'll just be easier to see. As you can see, the center of this shawl wraps around in, I don't know, mathiness, but not quite a complete circle, but it makes it super easy to just like toss over your shoulders, and it will stay put because of that already naturally wrapping shape. So the first way to wear it is to just throw it over your shoulders with the point in the front. This makes for a really nice show off of the texture, the little poofs and the stripes, but also gives you that nice V in front while keeping all the bulk away from your neck. It is kind of open in the back, which if you're worried about it falling off, you could take a little pin and pin just the very top right there to make sure that it stayed put. But I've worn mine around like this and not had any troubles with it falling off. It can also be worn exactly like a more traditional triangle shawl, taking one side up and over. I try to keep this a little more on the flat side so that you don't get too bulky around your neck. Take the other side. Where's my center point? There's my center point. Wrap it up and around as well. Keep it nice and flat. You can see I have one edge coming off here, one edge coming off here. It gives kind of a fun asymmetrical shape, but you could also either take this side, bring it up through the center, and give yourself a little like bow tie, not a bow tie, a little tie right there, which would be cute. Or if you'd rather a more sleek shape, you can slip them both inside the shawl, lay them really nice and flat, or even go ahead and tie it underneath there, and you end up with a nice cozy around your neck. But again, a super sleek and smooth fit all the way around. Really nice. Of course, you can do a sort of V traditional shawl without it hanging right close to your neck by simply just wrapping it around, maybe tucking it under a little bit, turning those points, which end up on the side, kind of under the shawl, and then it's kind of up away from your neck and nice and draped with the point in the front. I'm also finding that I'm really loving wearing this shawl asymmetrical, having the point off to the side, laying this kind of around and over my shoulder, underneath, wrapping this up around the top, and then you can see I've got the point here, I've got the point here, and then I just kind of tuck that under and in, and it stays put really nicely. Okay, so one of the things I love about this shawl the most is the wraparound neck, and that means that you can wear this like a cardigan. If you wrap it around your shoulders, you can see it almost looks like a cardigan, only without an arm. It lays really nice and open and flat across the front and just looks like a cardigan, which I think is so wonderful. Of course, if you're a person who likes to have cardigans more buttoned up, you can very easily take a shawl pin and just pin it so that it overlaps. And then it'll be closed like a cardigan too. I also think it's fun to pull one side a little further over and to take the other side and just kind of flip it up to the side. Then I just take this edge and stick it underneath the side that's pulled over a little further. And then if you really want to secure it, this would be another great place for your shawl pin. Just going to grab all of those layers there in my shawl pin, and then it'll stay really nicely held in place right there. All right, if you want a really unique and kind of funky way to wear your shawl, this next one is going to blow your mind. I came across this accidentally as I was taking pictures. I had my big shawl, like I had changed and tossed it on the side. I was moving to a different spot to take pictures, and I picked it up and it was kind of wrapped, and I was like, oh, that's kind of fun. So then I analyzed it a little bit so I could make it happen on purpose. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna take your shawl, the main center point. We're gonna take this point and we're gonna throw it over and wrap. And you see how now I have this short point and this long point? Then I'm gonna take this. I'm actually gonna wrap this, I think, under. Is that what I'm gonna do? Yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap this one under over here. So it's coming around to the front. You can see that doesn't leave me a ton, but then there's plenty of fabric over here to wrap around, and then even kind of back underneath a little bit. And then look at that. I have this point here, I have this point here, I have this guy sticking out here. If I feel, this is really secure to me, but if I felt a little like, oh, I don't know if it's gonna stay put, I could put a shawl pin like right in here, and that would be good too. I could even just use my little pin and not the, and kind of go in and out a little bit. Very, very subtle. Thank you so much for joining me today, and thank you for staying till the end. As promised, I have a little discount code for you as a thank you for watching. You can use the code COMFORT20 on Ravelry and Etsy to save 20%. And that coupon code is good October 17th through the 22nd, 2024. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you love making your Odessa Gray Shawl, and happy crafting!